Hi, horticulturist Tina Kane here for In the Garden. Today we're talking about succulents. They continue to be a strong trend in indoor gardening. One of the most common things I get asked by my clients is, how do I keep them looking healthy? So today I'm going to give you a few tips on how to keep your succulents looking happy and healthy indoors. So one of the first things that I always tell my clients is when you head out to the garden center, you want to make sure that you pick a plant that's got a great shape, a well-rounded shape, and that has nice green foliage. Like this one, for example. This particular one has nice and full foliage all the way around, and it has a nice blue-green healthy color. Another thing you want to take note of is that you want to be sure that the leaves don't have any insect damage or any insects on them at all, because when you're starting out with healthy plants, that's half the battle once you get it to your house. So the next thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you pick the right soil and the right pot. Generally, succulents are not that finicky. They don't mind being in any pot just as long as it has a drainage hole. Most often you see succulents planted in terracotta pots, and that's fine. That's primarily for aesthetic reasons, and plus that the pot is porous, so it dries out. But if you put it in a glazed container, that's not a problem. Just as long as it has a drainage hole inside, you should be fine. And you want to be sure that you use the correct soil. Cactus and succulents prefer their own soil mixture, and you can buy potting soil formulated specifically for those as well. Now you want to be sure that you give your succulents the right amount of water. I always recommend that you let them dry thoroughly between each watering. How do I do that? I like to keep a calendar. It lets me know how often in between waterings I can go. I generally water on Mondays. I mark it on my calendar. I check it the following Monday. If the plant is not dried thoroughly, I wait another couple weeks or 1 to 2 weeks. It all depends on how hot and dry your house is. Now, succulents, they don't like to be overwatered, and you'll see signs of this if this happens. Leaves become yellow, soggy, and mushy. That's a sign of overwatering. If you're underwatering, which, you would think a succulent, how am I going to underwater? It can happen. They get dried and shriveled up, and then they'll turn brown and they'll start to shed. So that's why I always say to my clients, it's best to keep a calendar. That way, when everything is written down and documented, you know how long in between each watering you can go. Succulents like to be in bright, sunny locations, so I like to give them at least 4 to 6 hours of light per day. Again, I talk about my own personal experience with my house being low light. I actually managed to get succulents to look very healthy in a medium to low light situation. So if you have a bright sunny window, southern exposure, you're golden. But for those of us who have a lower light situation, don't fret about it. Believe it or not, succulents can adapt, and they can adapt to a 4 to 6 hour light exposure. It's not a problem at all. And you want to be sure to keep your plants looking clean. You want to remove any decaying leaves or any dried up, shriveled up leaves. Just, take them off and keep grooming them. I like to call it plant grooming. And by that I mean you groom your plants daily. It doesn't have to be daily or whenever you remember. It's just a way to keep in touch with your plants. You take off any brown and decaying leaves just so they keep looking fresh on a daily basis. And don't forget to feed your succulents. They like their own type of food. So when you head out to the garden center, you want to look for cactus succulent fertilizer. Feed them during the growing season, spring, summer. I like to start late February, early March, once every couple of weeks with a water-soluble fertilizer. And that'll help keep your plants looking healthy. By following these few easy tips, I guarantee you your succulents will be looking beautiful all winter long. I'm horticulturist Tina Kane. See you next time for In the Garden.